This summer, I went on the Silver Dollar City adventure, where I had the privilege to spend it working at Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri. I got to be a ride attendant on the big rides and a ride operator on the smaller rides. As a coaster enthusiast, working on roller coasters was a dream come true, especially an RMC. While I was in Missouri, I had plenty of time to visit the park, other attractions, and even Worlds of Fun in Kansas City. In true KingT fashion, I will be ranking every roller coaster I rode this summer, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Also, I apologize for the lack of good footage of some of these rides. Some of the best ones with the best setting are just tucked away in the woods and you can't really see anything. And if you guys are interested in my friends list from the Silver Dollar City Adventure series, I will have them in the description. Starting off the list at number 15 is the one and only kiddie coaster on the list, Grand Expo Coaster at Silver Dollar City. This is a fun little first roller coaster for kids. There's really not much to say about this one. For most people, including me, this was just another ride to make the total number of coasters go up. Moving on to number 14, this is the Branson Mountain Coaster. This was one of the 2 Alpine coasters that I rode, and it was definitely fun. Even though it had 2 lift hills, I didn't think there was much to it. Even with the brakes totally off, it was still pretty tame. Coming in at number 13 is the first thrill ride to make the list, Boomerang at Worlds of Fun. This was by far my least favorite coaster at this park, but I didn't really think it was as bad as some people say. Yes, it's a boomerang and they're all over the place, but this one was my first boomerang, and I was expecting the worst. I will say, Jake and I are both tall, which does help, but I could see why people really don't like this, and especially doing those inversions backwards was not the best on a rough ride like this. Right above Boomerang is the other Alpine coaster, Copperhead Mountain Coaster. I don't know what it is about this ride that's different than the Branson coaster, but I had a way more fun on this one. I think that its elevation change is greater, so it picks up more speed and feels more out of control. Plus it's completely in the woods and you just get lost back there. Next up we go back to Silver Dollar City for the new family attraction, Fire in the Hole. This is a really cool historical dark ride with some coaster elements, which gives it a really special place at the park. If you want to ride this one though, better go at the right time if you don't want to wait 2 hours, because this is pretty much always the longest line in the park. This ride's coaster elements are pretty tame, so it can only rank so high, but it's a great dark ride with some pretty good theming. Kicking off the top 10 for my summer trip is the other family coaster, Spinning Dragons. Fun fact, this was my 80th coaster, so it makes a mini milestone for me. This is a really underrated family spinning coaster that doesn't really get talked about much. I thought it had some really fun moments, especially if you get a heavier car. Additionally, the Worlds of Fun app always completely overestimates the wait times for only this ride for some reason. For number 9, we're taking a ride on Thunderation, the classic Aero mine train. This is by far my favorite mine train that I've ridden, and that helix is just something else. The helix is both downhill and each turn gets tighter, so it gradually gets more intense and is even one of the most forceful elements in the park. It is a bit rough and janky in places, so beware, but I do enjoy a ride on Thunderation. I especially like that it has a big drop after the lift hill at the end, instead of ending with a lift hill right into the station, so the ride ends on a high note. Now we're finally back to the thrill rides. Coming in at number 8 is Timberwolf at Worlds of Fun. I was pleasantly surprised with this coaster because it wasn't all that painful like some YouTubers say it is. The ride has some fun moments, and in some spots it has some decent airtime or laterals. Timberwolf is kind of a perfect middle of the list coaster for this list because it's good, but definitely not as good as anything above it. It's just a kind of fun wooden coaster. Now is where the coasters step it up a bit. All the coasters here in the top 7 are really good, fun rides that don't really have any bad qualities. And the number 7 spot goes to the B&M Invert Patriot at Worlds of Fun. I think it's a pretty common saying in this community, but you really can't go wrong with a B&M invert. They're smooth, have great inversions and pacing. Patriot also is in an open field, which gives some pretty good views of the surrounding area if you get a front row ride. You really can't go wrong with a ride on Patriot. Just barely missing the top 5 is a coaster that I feel weird putting this low. I have gone back and forth with this in the number 5 spot all summer, It was really close, but the number 6 spot belongs to Powder Keg, the SNET's launch coaster. I think the only thing that kept this ride out of the top 5 was the restraints and seats, because I really don't like how low you sit, and the seat and bar are hard plastic. Other than that, Powder Keg is a great ride. The launch is probably my second or third favorite launch of all time. Its acceleration feels awesome. The rest of the layout is a lot of fun, with airtime, laterals, and even some good positives. Powder Keg is also one of the best night rides, because you just get lost back there in the woods. The coaster that bumped Powder Keg out of the top 5 is the coaster right next door, Wildfire. Wildfire is one of those rides that doesn't have anything wrong with it. The drop in the back row is great for a looping coaster, and each inversion delivers. There's no dead space on this ride, which is a big plus for it. But the thing that really sets this ride above Powder Keg and the rest of the list is the setting and view. Wildfire has one of the greatest views of all time from the top of a roller coaster, because of its location on the top of the mountain. You get a fantastic panoramic view that shows the lake and mountains for miles in each direction. Also, a sunset ride on Wildfire is one of the best experiences at Silver Dollar City, right up there with the famous night rides. Now we've made it to the top 4, which are the fantastic rides. You've probably guessed exactly which rides these are, as they're all the clear winners in their respective parks. Coming in at the number 4 spot is Prowler at Worlds of Fun. Prowler is a really fun, smooth, twister GCI wooden coaster with some good forces and setting. I've said this a few times before, but Prowler is a really well-rounded wood coaster that doesn't have anything bad. That being said, I don't think that it's an S-tier thrill ride as some other people say, and I didn't even think it was the best in the park, but Prowler is still one of my favorites. Right above Prowler in the number 3 spot is the best ride at Worlds of Fun, Mamba, the Morgan Hypercoaster. My friend Jake said that this was just a better version of Magnum XL 200 at Cedar Point.
It's basically a better version of Magnum.
Yes, and I completely agree. Mamba has the same general layout with really big drawn out elements in the first half, but these actually deliver forces. The big floater hill is great, but the triple helix has some surprisingly good sustained force. The second half kicks it up a notch with the fantastic ejector hills. They aren't quite as forceful as Magnums, but I actually like that because they don't hurt and throw you into a bad, uncomfortable restraint. Mamba is great in either the front or back. I highly recommend trying both if you get to ride it. Well, there's 2 coasters left, the world-class thrill rides at Silver Dollar City. The question is, which is the best? Coming in at the number 2 spot is Time Traveler, the Mach Extreme Spinning Coaster. When I first rode this, I was not expecting it to be pure chaos. The cars spin randomly, even though it's limited by magnets to not be uncomfortable. The vertical drop out of the station is one of the best drops I've ever been on, especially if you take it sideways or backwards. The inversions are awesome, but my favorite moment is this off-axis cutback hill thing. Taking this backwards throws you out of the seat so hard, both vertically and horizontally with no warning. There's a few more pops of negative G's, but nothing compares to that one hill. For a spinning coaster, Time Traveler is surprisingly re-rideable, and I was able to ride it at least 4 or 5 times in a row before needing a break. Time Traveler is fantastic, and might even be in my top 10, but you'll have to wait and see the top 25 video to find that out. But there's one more coaster that I like more. Coming in at the number 1 spot, to no one's surprise, is the RMC wooden coaster Outlaw Run. Outlaw Run is easily the best coaster I rode all summer, and I managed to get a bunch of my friends on the hype train of Outlaw Run as well. Outlaw Run's first drop is pretty crazy in the back car, although there is a bump at the bottom of the first drop that makes a lot of people not like this ride. The bump never bothers me, but I do have a higher roughness tolerance than a lot of other people I have met. That's really the only bad spot on the ride, so if you get past that, I promise you will love it. This bump is also the reason that row number 11 is the best seat on the ride, not row 12. Outlaw Run has 3 inversions and each one provides some awesome hang time, specifically that last uphill barrel roll into the brakes. The airtime on Outlaw Run is also fantastic, and each hill is sure to send you out of that seat. The view at the top is also fantastic, but not the highlight of the ride. Outlaw Run is really good on its own, but when it's dark, it is so much better. Outlaw Run currently has my all-time favorite night ride, and there's no contest. There are no lights back there, and just racing through the woods at 70 miles an hour in the dark is just awesome. It's almost pitch black back there, so you can't see what's coming. Just watch out for the camera, that flash blinds me every time, but it honestly just adds to the intensity. And it doesn't even end there. If you go during summer nights, you can actually see the fireworks while riding the coaster, and seeing the fireworks go off while you're upside down is just wild, because that double barrel roll is at the perfect angle to where they fire them off. Outlaw Run was by far the star attraction in the Silver Dollar City adventure, and it brought me some unforgettable memories. Well, that's gonna do it for this video, where I ranked every roller coaster I rode on the Silver Dollar City adventure. As I mentioned at the beginning, some of my friends have lists of their own, which will be in the description. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. I love hearing your opinions on coasters. Join the Discord if you want to talk with myself and the other viewers, not just about coasters, but any other topics that I make content on. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. KingT out.